Hi everyone, welcome. It's Peaceful Paradise. I hope you're doing very well. Today I want to talk about the three most important things that men need from women and why they're important as well. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. I wish that a lot of other women will hear the topic and maybe that's gonna help, even to save somebody else's marriage. The topics that we're gonna discuss today are vital. They are crucial to have the most beautiful, loving, never-ending honeymoon phase relationship. So let's get started. So thing number one is honor and respect. Probably the most vital, the most crucial things and emotions that you can show to somebody else, another human being, especially a man. He needs to feel that he is respected by you. He needs to feel that you honor him and you honor his acts, his emotion, everything else that he does. You can also show it to him by trusting him. You trust him, you trust that he can lead the family, he can lead you, he can make his own decisions. You are not his mom. In order to let your man lead, you showing him that you respect his decisions and you believe that he has it. You believe that he has everything planned, that everything is going to be fine. You're not criticizing, you're not undervaluing him, you're not second guessing him. You trust that he has you, he has your family, he has your kids, he's got your back. And then you understand him. You understand that maybe if he didn't want to get the higher paid job, it's not because he's lazy, it's not because he doesn't want to provide for you, but maybe it's because he knows that when he's gonna get that job that pays him £20,000 per year more, he's gonna completely lose the time to be with you or to stay with the kids. You need to consider different things that maybe you don't really see. Sometimes women will like to only look from one direction, and this is, the only thing that we see rather than trying to understand the bigger picture. And once you're losing that trust, you're always gonna second guessing yourself and second guessing him, and he's gonna feel it. He's gonna feel it and he's gonna reject you even more, to the point that you can even start arguing about smaller things that are not even that important just because you didn't have that trust in him first. Things number two that your man needs from you is your happiness and your self-love. You looking after yourself. It's so important that I can't stress that enough. I've seen tons and tons of marriages where women would just let go of herself. 100% she would live her life for others, forgetting about her own needs, forgetting about her own happiness, forgetting about her own desires. That's not something that your man is going to be proud of. Once he's back home and the first thing he's noticed is you sitting in the corner and being miserable rather than greeting him and showing that love and affection towards him, then he's gonna second guess himself. This is not a conscious thought in his head, but your happiness is going to clearly impact him. He's going to feel responsible and he's going to feel like he's the one to blame for your happiness. I don't know why. It's a nature, is the way that God has created us. I mean, at the end of the day, we have been made from Adam's ribs, and they supposed to be feeling like we are like them. We are one body. We are like a family, like a union. So once you feeling bad, once you're unhappy, it's going to be unconscious thought inside him that you're unhappy because of him. He's doing something wrong. And it's not like that's going to motivate him to try harder or do better. It's basically going to show him that he's not good enough. So even if you're honoring him, if you're respecting him, but you're still showing yourself as unhappy bunny, it's kind of it's erasing everything else that you do. So if you're saying, oh, you know what, Annabella, I've praised him, I respected him, and he's still doing whatever, then you have to look at different steps. You have to look at everything that you do and not just that one thing. I am not saying that you always have to put the smile on your face and you have to pretend that there are no weeds and everything is fine. Like, this is not what I'm saying. There's always a good time to say what's bothering you. But let me give you an example. Once he's coming back home, the last thing that he wants, imagine that he has been working for 10 hours. I mean, my husband works night shift, so it's even harder for him. And let's say he's coming back home and the first thing he see me is me being miserable. Or let's say even worse, if the first thing I would do once he's back home, I would be like, why you haven't done this, and how are you doing this, I'm not happy because of this. He wouldn't like to be back home. Simple as this. Because who would like to be in that toxic environment with a woman she's never happy and she's never grateful for what he does? So I definitely recommend to stay happy. And even once you have a problem, you can always communicate that later. So let's say you greet your husband, you give him a small kiss, or you even smack his bum and say, hi honey, I missed you, it's so good that you're home, would you like a tea or coffee? You know, even put like a dinner or a breakfast on table, and maybe a few minutes later, how was your day? He's gonna ask you, how was your night, or how was your day as well. You can then say, you know what, I've been thinking about this, or the other day I asked you to do something and unfortunately you haven't done it, I'm not really happy about it. Just show him you're not happy about something, but that doesn't have to come as you jumping on him and being like, you're all wrong, everything is your fault, and how dare you doing this to me. Like, you have to communicate your desires. I would even say stop complaining altogether. If there is something that he hasn't done, maybe try to say, you know, I would be so happy if you would do that, or that would make me feel so happy if you can put the picture on the wall, or you know, things like this. So rather than nagging him and saying what he hasn't done right, just tell what's gonna make you happy, and I promise you that's gonna elevate him and his psychology so much that he's not gonna be able to refuse you. Let me tell you this, small things that are not important for you now, they're gonna make your life miserable later on. So you either focus on it now, or you can let it slide and go, and then God forbid something's gonna happen to your marriage, you're gonna blame your husband again. And in that vicious cycle, you're never gonna be in control. You're always gonna blame everybody else. You're gonna put yourself in that, you know, victim mentality that you don't want to be. So take control back, take the responsibility for your life back, and see every single small thing that you do, or you know, not what he's doing, just look at yourself and see if you're actually happy within yourself. If you don't want to feed your plant, it's gonna die sooner or later, and then you're gonna moan why he has moved out, why he didn't treat you the way he did, why he's not bringing you flour anymore. Are you giving something towards him? Are you giving something to him so he can take that good feeling and give it to you back? Or you're just expecting him to give without giving anything towards him? When you love yourself, you also look after yourself in ways that you will never do otherwise. The majority of people that they got a bit unhappy, when I see woman is unhappy and the guy is unhappy, every time it's kind of linked to the fact that woman is letting go. She's letting go of her beauty. She thinks that in order to be a good wife and good partner, she's got to give everything towards other people, and she stopped having time for herself. And I would encourage everybody, every single woman, not to give everything to anybody. Your life is you, and once you let it go, it's so difficult to take it back. So doing things like going to the nature, doing Pilates, practicing yoga, doing some art classes, looking after your beauty outside, so hair, makeup, taking long baths, switching on the candles, decorating your house, doing something that's gonna bring you back to your feminine essence. It's so important because this is definitely what the guy wants. He doesn't understand the feminine, you know, behavior, but he craves that. He wants that. He wants that sweetness. He wants that loving, happy, fulfilled wife. So they've done the studies and they ask men, when do they love the women the most? What's the time when they love the female the most? And the results are quite interesting, because the guy said, I love her the most when she's in her element. So where she's singing, where she's dancing, when she's doing her own craft, when she's so occupied with whatever she's doing right now or whatever she's feeling, that she doesn't even remember about him. And this is the time when he loves you the most. How interesting. And of course, I'm not even talking about situation like alcoholism, or when women abuse alcohol, drugs. that sort of things. I think you need a professional person to deal with that. And I think even if the guy is gonna stay with you and still provide and maybe even protect, then he's gonna lose respect towards you, and it's very difficult to get it back. Once he has seen you being so drunk that you can't even talk, or puking outside, or doing something that is so out of our femininity, then it's so difficult to erase that memory from his head. So please, if you do it, stop it. If you're running your mouth, if you're swearing all the time, if you abuse the alcohol, if you're taking drugs, I mean, you need a professional help. I surely and truly advise you to go and get help. Then thing number three is physical touch and affection. When I hear that woman complaining that their husband wants to be physical with them, I'm like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, women? Why are you not happy about it? Why did you choose him as your husband? We are bashing men because they want to be intimate with us. We are bashing men because they want to be close to us. They want to feel that physical affection. And then 5 minutes later, we are bashing them because they go in somewhere else to fulfill that need. And then we are blaming them because he has cheated on us, or he's doing this, or he's not giving me that much time. He doesn't listen to me anymore. It's crazy. I would never say that cheating is good, because I think this is just out of line, and I would rather end the relationship than being cheated on or cheat on somebody. It can literally destroy everything, it can destroy you. I'm not saying that this is good, but I want to look a bit further and see how are we contributing towards that. I've done a small note over here. I said, I mean, if he has you, the most precious, sweet, loving diamond, he fought for you, he claimed you, he announced to the world that you are his, why would he go elsewhere? Right? That's my question. Why would a man go elsewhere if he is physically and emotionally healthy? We need to look at that problem. So it can be anything, beginning with the hug, with a kiss. You can't just wait for him to come towards you and always expect that he's going to be the first doing it. You need to show him that you want to kiss, you want to cuddle. Maybe you can even take his hand when you're in public. Do something that shows that affection. And another thing that will definitely help you is knowing his love language, and actually knowing your own love language, so you can train him and tell him how you like, how you like to be treated in a way. There are 5 different love languages, and I've done my husband a test even before we got engaged, just to, I was just so into it and really wanted to know. It was so interesting to find out that pretty much all the love languages, because there are 5, and obviously it's not that you need only one, but there's going to be one that's going to be more important above the others. So you're going to have your love language number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And oh my god, I was so surprised that we had ours, like pretty much everything was on point. Our love languages was the quality time and act of service. So because we love spending time together, and not like just being on your phone and not even talking to one another, a quality time when you really give that other person the time of your day. And also the act of service. I think this is the way that he got my heart, because he's been doing so much for me even before we got engaged, that I just couldn't say no, could I? I think the only one that was slightly different was gifts. So there is a love language where people just love to receive gifts, and this is how they feel loved. He wasn't really bothered about it. He was like, at the end, obviously he is a man, so that's normal, that's how it's supposed to be. It would be very weird if his love language is going to be gifts, like the most important one is going to be gifts. Like, I would be but I love getting gifts. They're not the most important on my list, but it's also so nice to get it. However, I do need to say that they do gonna change sometimes. So even though maybe the first one's gonna stay exactly the same, maybe after 2 years, when you receive the love language that you always wanted, that can change later on. So something that wasn't that important for you can go on top of the list. So I hope that was helpful, guys. If you want to subscribe, please do. If you have any comments, let it, put it below, and I will see you in the next video. I love you, my angels. Bye.